Hi all. So as a medical student, you all may feel difficult to study anatomy as it is considered as the toughest among other subjects. So here in this video, I am going to tell you 3 tips to excel in anatomy by simple way. So those 3 tips which we first, the books which we have to refer for anatomy. The second thing is how to study anatomy. And the third way is how to write the exams. So, all these 3 tips we are going to see in this upcoming video. So, I will show you. First, we are going to see what are the books we have to refer for anatomy. So, as you know, in anatomy, we have got different fields such as gross anatomy, we have got histology and embryology. So, for each things, we have got vast number of books in the market. So, you may feel bit confused to choose the books. So, here to read or understand anatomy in a better and simpler way, I am going to give you some books which will help you for your exam and for your understanding in a simple way. So first we will move on to gross anatomy. Talking about gross anatomy, we have got B.D. Chaurasia's Human Anatomy, which is having regional and applied aspect. So this book is my first preference for knowing gross anatomy in a easier way. In this we have got 4 volumes with all these regions. Along with that it have got general anatomy. So all these book you can purchase together to know anatomies, gross anatomy in a better way. Along with this, you can also refer another book called Vishram Sikh's Textbook of Anatomy. This is also having all 3 volumes. So these 2 books are always considered as a simpler books for knowing anatomy in a easier way. The cover page of B.D. Chaurasia's Human Anatomy, and this is the cover page of Vishram Singh's Human Anatomy. So these are the volumes you have got. So Vishram Singh you have got 3 volumes. In Chaurasia you have got 4 volumes with different regions in each. Other books to refer gross anatomy in a detailed view. So if a particular region you have to understand in a better way than these 2 books, you can always go to Essentials of Human Anatomy by A.K. Datta. So in this book you will see a detailed description of all the particular regions whichever you want to read in detail. So this book is always considered as a small version of Gray's Anatomy. So Gray's Anatomy is an authentic book for human anatomy, but as it is vast and you can't cover much of it, this AK Datta is considered as a simpler version of that Gray's Anatomy. So you can always go for seminars or some detailed description. If you want, you can go for this AK Datta with all 3 volumes. And then we have got Gray's Anatomy for students, which is also equally helpful. This is the cover page of AK Datta, and this is the cover page of Gray's Anatomy book. We will move on to histology books. So, talking about histology books, we have got Interbell Singh's Textbook of Human Histology, and then we have got Practical Manual of Histology for Medical Students, which was given by Neelkant B. Coat. So, this book is a practical manual to draw and practice all histological diagrams. So to understand anatomical histology, you can always go for in the basics. For the diagrammatic view, you can always practice in Practical Manual of Histology by Neil Kahn. Cover page of in the basics, and this is the cover page of Practical Manual of Histology. Talking about embryology books, again we have got two. One is the simpler way to study embryology in the Bersing's Human Embryology book, and for detailed description of embryology along with its clinical concepts, if you want, you can always go for Langman's Medical Embryology, where you can get many clinical oriented conditions related to this embryology part. Cover page of Hinderbill Singh's Human Embryology, and this is Langman's Medical Embryology. So this is the first tip which I have given, that is the books which are helpful and which will give you a simpler version of human anatomy. Now we will go on to the second tip, that is how to study anatomy in a simpler way. As you know, in anatomy, we have got all these things such as bones, joints, muscles, about the blood supply, nerve supply, organs, glands, and ganglion. You have to know in a detailed view of all these things. So, to know all these things, we have got some particular pattern to read everything, each of this in a particular way. So all those things I am going to explain now. First we have got bones, then we are going to see joints, muscles, blood supply with arterial and venous drainage, nerve supply, organs, glands and ganglion. So first we how to study anatomy of bones. So if you are going to explain bones, you have to know which type it is, because in bones we have got several types such as long bone, short bone, flat bone, pneumatic bones, and so many types are there. So whichever bone you are explaining, first you have to explain which type it is, and then you have to go for side determination. If it is a single bone in a body, no need of that. If it is a paired bone, you have to know whether it is right or left side. For that you have got some particular feature, so those things you have to know very well. And you have to explain in each bone what are the bony features seen, such as it may have trochlea, that's a small elevation, trochanter, which will be a larger elevation, and then we have got fossas such as depression and fovea, which is also considered as depression, and then we have got some holes present in bone, which is called as foramen. Then we have got some grooves present, and also we have got condyles, bony plates, bony lines and facets present in the bone. All these things you have to know to explain how it is. Move on to see. So these are the types of bones we have got. So about each type and their importance you have to explain under those subheadings which we have seen before. Move on to joints. So if you are going to explain about joints are nothing but two bones which will articulate together. The point where it is getting articulated, we will always refer to that as joints. So if you are explaining a joint, you have to know which type it is, because we have got many types of joints such as primary cartilaginous, secondary cartilaginous, fibrous joints and synovial joints. So which type of joint you have to explain, and then you have to tell which variety is it. So if it is synovial joint, in that we have got many varieties such as ball and socket variety and many other such types. So those variety you have to mention. And then we have got articulating surface, that is, as I said, two bones will be used to form the joints. So the bony surface which is going to give the joint, about that you have to explain as articulating surface, and you have to tell about the synovial membrane, how it is covering it, and the supporting structures such as ligaments and muscles which are going to contribute for the joint to be placed in proper position. So about those you have to explain. And surrounding this joint we have got some muscles, vessels, nerves and all. So the relations also you have to mention. So because of all these things we will make some movements. So what are the movements can be produced, you have to explain. Along with that, some clinical aspect, if a fracture happened in some of its points, what will happen, you have to explain in detail. So these are the points you have to mention while explaining the joints. Type, variety, articulating surface, synovial membrane and its fluid, along with that ligament, muscle, relation, movements and applied aspect. So these 9 points are important while you are explaining joints. Now we will move on to the image, how the joints are produced. See here, this is atlantoaxial joint, so that is pivot type, and so same way we have got all this with particular type. You can see this ball and socket, which is a variety of synovial joint. Same way we have got all these joints with this type and variety. So all this you have to explain. Now, how to study muscles? So, if you are going to explain muscles, you have to know from where it is taking its origin. So, the point from where the muscle starts is considered as origin, and where it's going to end up is considered as insertion. So, these 2 points you have to tell while you're explaining muscle, origin of the particular muscle and insertion of it. And obviously, the muscle contraction and relaxation is made by nerve supply. So the nerve supply you have to explain, and because of the contraction and relaxation of this muscle, some action is produced, such as flexion, extension, such things. So those things we are mentioning under action. So 4 points it is must, such as origin, insertion, nerve supply and action. Along with that, some clinical aspect, such as deltoid muscle, which is used for intramuscular injection. So those things also you have to mention while you are explaining the muscles. To the muscles, see, this is how muscles are formed in the body. So about each muscles while you are explaining, you have to explain under those 5 subheadings which we have seen now. So now we will move on to blood supply. Talking about blood supply, we have got two types in it, again arterial and venous drainage. The arterial supply is the one which is going to give oxygen, or it is going to give nutrition for the particular area. So arterial supply, again the arteries which are going to give that supply will have its origin from where it starts, and then it have got some course, that is through which it is going to pass, and then while it is passing it is going to give many tiny branches, and then it is going to end up in some point that is called as termination. So origin, course, branches and termination you have to explain under arterial supply. So it is always considered as a tree with its branches. Now we will move on to venous drainage. That is, it is going to drain the unwanted things. So it is again taking its origin from some particular area, and from there it is going to have its course, that is it is going to pass by some structures. So that thing you have to explain. After it is, while it is passing, it is going to give some tributaries, through which those tributaries this venous blood is going to drain in some other area. At last it will drain, the main trunk will drain in some other parts, that is called as drainage. So venous drainage is always considered as a river. So as a river it is going to flow with its tributaries, at last it is going to end up in ocean. So that is considered as venous drainage. So arterial supply and venous drainage you have to explain under these 4 subheadings. So here in this image you can make out this is arterial supply. Usually it will take origin from heart, and it is going to give its course. So it is taking its origin, and then we have got course with its branches, at last it will terminate in some way. And same way venous drainage, it is going to collect from other parts, and then it is going to form a course. At last it is going to give some tributaries, and then it will drain in heart. So this is the two image of artery and vein. Talking about nerve. So nerve again have got 4 subdivisions, same like arterial and venous drainage. It have got origin and course. Again it have got branches with its termination. So origin of the nerve you have to explain, and course again it will give some branches, at last how it is going to end up, that is termination. So this is how nerve supply will be seen now. Talking about organs. So in our body we have got many organs, such as in our thoracic region and abdomen region we have got lot of organs. So those organs while you are explaining you have to tell how what are the surfaces present for each organ, and then you have to talk about relation. So we have got visceral and ligamentous relation. Visceral in the sense the other organs which are related to the particular organ which we are going to explain, and the ligaments which is going to give some connection with other organs. So those things are considered as ligaments. And then for each organ we have got blood supply, which is arterial and venous drainage we have to explain, and each organ will be carrying its own nerve supply and lymphatic drainage. So lymph vessels also will be seen, that is going to collect extracellular fluid. So about that also we have to mention, and its clinical importance. So these are the 6 points you have to mention while you are explaining an organ. So we are talking about each parts of anatomy and how to explain all those things. So for organs you have got 6 points to explain, and then we are going on to organs. These are the organs we have got in our body. About organs while explaining we have to explain those subdivisions which we have seen before. So then if you are explaining about glands, talking about glands we have got endocrine gland, exocrine glands and all. So these glands while you're explaining, first you have to tell where it is present, that is location. And second thing, it will have some particular shape. So about that, and general features are such as each gland is going to secrete some specific fluid. So about that you have to explain. And then anatomically, while you're explaining, we have to go for parts of it. What are the parts present and the relation same like organs? What are the blood supply given and nerve supply with its lymphatic drainage and the applied aspect? So these are the 9 subheadings you have to explain while explaining glands. So these are the glands you have. See, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, thymus, adrenal, pancreas, ovary and testes. So while you're explaining all these glands, you have to mention all 9 points which we have seen before. Then we have got ganglions in our body. So if you are explaining ganglions such as in head and neck region, especially we have got ganglions. So those ganglions explaining, you have to tell where it is present, location. In that again we have got topographical and functional relation. So topographically in the sense according to the structure related to it, we'll call that as topographical relation. According to its function, it is called as some other different way, that is functional location. And then you have to explain parts of it, such as we have got sympathetic branches passing through it, parasympathetic branches passing through it, and sensory branches will be passing through it. So all this pathway you have to mention, and from those, after relaying, it will give some branches. Those things also you have to explain under. So these are the things you have to mention. So here you have to remember, in anatomy always diagrams are very important. So while you are explaining all these things, while you are writing up in your exam paper, while writing all these glands, organs or muscles, whatever it is, you have to draw a proper neat labeled diagram. So diagrams will fetch you proper marks. So while drawing diagrams, we have got some color code for it. So usually use those colors which will fetch you good marks. So if you are drawing a muscle, you have to go for brown color. Nerves should be shown with yellow, artery with red, vein with blue, and the lymph vessel should be shown with violet color. If you are drawing a gland, it should be with orange color. So this is the color code we have got for anatomy. So this is the basic way to study anatomy in a easier way and to present in our exam in a proper subheadings. Now we will move on. The third tip, that is how to write the exam. So way to write exam is, first if it is an essay question, first read the question properly, and then if it is a question with subdivision, answer according to subdivisions in a proper order. If it is given as A B C D, so you have to write in that particular order. That will fetch you good marks. So if you are making them confused by writing C first, then you are going for A, it will be confusing them and it will make a bad impression. So better always go for a proper order subdivisions, and then draw a neat label diagram with a large sized image, so that by seeing the diagram they will understand you have got the proper concepts in your mind. And always after writing the answer, highlight the important points, so that if they see the points they should understand you have got the proper knowledge of the particular topic which you are writing. So these are the 4 things you have to keep in mind while writing the essay question. So move on to short answers. So if it is short answer, it should be brief and usually write it in points rather than paragraphs. If it is a one more question, give a particular answer which they ask for. Don't overwrite. So that is the main advice I will give you for writing one more question. And if it is a diagram question, only the diagram you have to show with proper parts and colors, which I have mentioned before. If you are going on writing about that particular diagram, it won't give you marks at all. If it is a diagram question, stick to diagram alone. So these are the ways, some simpler ways to write the exam in a proper view. And if it is a seminar or if it is a Viva exam or something, while you are delivering the answer, be confident and deliver the accurate point which they ask for. Don't confused by telling unwanted things which you may have in your mind, but what they are asking, you hear for that and answer that appropriate answer only. So if you are starting to explaining the things which you know and which you have studied along with that, it won't give you proper result. Just answer to what they are asking for, so it will fetch you marks. Okay, so these are the three tips I have got for you. First thing, the books which you have to refer. Second thing, how to study the anatomy according to the particular question, like according to the particular region which they ask for. And third tip is the way to write exam in a proper way. So all understand. So for more videos of my channel, you can go for the link which is given in the description below, and you can also purchase my course which I have given in the description. So I have made some videos in anatomy, so you can purchase it along with this. Thank you for listening.